case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Kessler's in the house. He's got his muffler on. He's got that very fashionable, that TV. What's the cliche? You can take Kessler off the TV, but you can't take the TV out of Kessler.
Exactly.
And so he's got to have that look. The muffler around the neck. No jacket. Just the fashion accessory becomes the scarf. I think that's what I saw him in, wasn't it? Yeah.
He's always got a scarf. He's always got his glasses.
I got the thing going. Does he understand he's not on TV anymore? Like, this is a radio show, and we're the only show on the station that's never on TV.
That never gets streamed.
Right,
so, right.
But although I don't want to be a hypocrite, though, because Halvey actually helped me heavily today in setting up the podcast event with your guy that you set up. Actually, I think you got the first contact, and it was
Jeremy Schaap.
Jeremy Schaap. Yeah, Dick Schaap's kid, Jeremy Schaap. So I don't want to turn this into a rip on Halvey. But, yeah, we're the only ones. But sometimes I think Kessler thinks he sees the cameras in here.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, we must be on TV. We're not on TV. He's not on Channel 4 anymore.
But also, you never know when something's going to break, and you have to be on TV.
Yeah, I see.
Because that's happened before. I remember somebody came in here to interview us about something, and then I got to Fox 9, and someone said, hey, way to dress up for that piece, with Paul Bloom. I'm like, well, it was a Tuesday, and I'm on the radio. So sorry.
Took it hard, huh?
Yeah, well, sorry I didn't have my, Shelby knot and my 3-piece suit.
People are vicious.
It's ridiculous.
People are
thanks for dressing up.
vicious.
Well, you called it 1 to come over at 2. I'm not running home.
To put a tuxedo on?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You want to interview a radio guy, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
If you want me on TV, you tell me.
Give me a bit of a warning.
I'll get
give me
the
a
Pilgrim
bit
Cleaners.
Of a time to actually, because you still think you can clean up okay.
Decently. Not great. Not my favorite, like you said yesterday. You don't necessarily love it. I don't either.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Let's get it started. I was very intrigued by your quarterback tease.
So ESPN, and I always like when you ask Seifert about this stuff, when they do league-wide things, biggest need for all 32 teams. They ask their beat writers, so I assume Kevin Seifert submitted this because he covers the Vikings for ESPN.com, and he always says, the point of that exercise, that's how he leads into it. He goes, the point of that exercise was just to get people thinking, because a lot of times it's just ESPN clickbait, and he tries to spruce it up a little bit. So they asked for predicted 2026 starting quarterbacks for all 32 teams. Now, most of them are pretty obvious, right? The top 10 or 15 teams, you know who they are.
By the way, who did the Pittsburgh writer have as this? Because that could be a clue on where a lot of things are going to go this offseason. Did he have Aaron Rodgers as his projected starter in Pittsburgh for the second straight year?
Pittsburgh predicted 2026 starter Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
With his old coach, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit of sense, too.
Okay.
So who then, with that domino off the board, who did ESPN.com predict will be the starting quarterback?
So we assume that means Seifert.
That's what I assume. Yes.
Let me
see if there's an actual...
I'm going to say...
Okay, well, so it might not be Seifert.
Oh.
Because Seth Walder wrote the story, but I don't know if he wrote everything.
I'm going to say they're projecting Derek Carr.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Seth
Kyler?
Walder, incorrect.
J.J. McCarthy?
Incorrect.
Man. I give up.
Kirk Cousins.
Oof. Yeah, it's always the obvious one that gets me. Because I don't want to believe it.
J.J. McCarthy's performance last season did not indicate he could deliver it. Given how Minnesota let its known quantity and Sam Darnold walk out the door in favor of J.J., I suspect that Kevin O'Connell will want to go back to known solid production, and Cousins represents that. The veteran quarterback is playing some of the best ball of his career with the Vikings before suffering an Achilles injury. Cousins wasn't the same with Atlanta, though he did play well at the end of last season. The Falcons are expected to release Cousins. Once they do, the Vikings might take him back.
Probably the easiest. You know him. I mean,
he knows you.
Let's face it. I mean, Kyler Murray is scary in a way, right? I mean, he's not that old, by the way. He's not even 30 yet, I don't think, is he?
No, I doubt it.
And so you could say, well, yeah, look at the talent in him. I mean, we all were mesmerized by it early in his career, right? Or a lot of people were. But it's probably the safest. I also think it's the most boring option. But might it be the right answer? I don't know. I know a lot of people are looking at the way he played late last season and are impressed. I don't know how you judge anything that was going on in Atlanta, but maybe you could say, well, put him in a better situation again than Atlanta seemed to be. Atlanta had some talent. Offensively, I thought. I don't remember what they were running offensively. Maybe that wasn't playing to Cousins' strengths. But
well, I do remember they had him, what was it, dropping back to pass, or was it straight shotgun? I can't remember. Out of the Achilles, things that he wasn't doing early. I can't remember. So anyway, food for thought.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's not going away anytime soon until it's resolved what they're going to do. Timberwolves won last night. Jaden McDaniels was very good. For more on Jaden McDaniels, here's Chris Finch. Dane Moore from the Dane Moore NBA podcast. He's out in Portland, and I guess following him on the entire road trip. So he put out a bunch of videos from after the game, including this sound from Finchy about Anthony Edwards' favorite player, Jaden McDaniels.
You try to...
No, I have a hard time understanding what's going on inside of Jaden at any given moment, so I don't necessarily try, but he's
Moody
done a really good job of funneling that energy, that focus to his game, and I trust him.
So that question was, because Jaden played great last night, obviously, and Anthony Edwards talked about it as well, that he tries to get him going by, and I can't play the Anthony one, of course, because they're swearing all over it, because that's how our guy Ant-Man rolls. That he tries to fire him up because the theory is Jaden plays better when he's mad. And so I loved the Finchy deadpan, though. I don't know what's going on in his head.
Or Moody.
But whatever was in his head last night, and some of that may have been the fact that he was basically home.
Do you think any of it had to do with the fact that Portland was missing its best player? Did that come up on the broadcast last night? I'm just curious.
It was a Peacock NBC broadcast last night. And as I texted my buddy last night, was texting me, Todd, late into the night. And I said, I can't stay up. There's West Coast games where I don't stay up.
I didn't either.
But it's not because I fell asleep necessarily. It's that when it's a West Coast game and I'm worried they're not going to play well, I'm such a rube.
You don't want to be there for it.
I don't want to be there for it because it's going to be like midnight, and then I'm going to be pissed.
And then you're not going to.
Then I'm going to stay up till like 2 a.m.
Stew.
And I'm going to go on the trade machine and see how they can get Giannis this summer.
Yeah, you're right.
So a lot of times I just pull the plug and say, especially if it's Peacock, where I can go back and watch it easily the next day. But McDaniels had 29 points. Anthony had 34, and the Timberwolves got a victory. So you pull up the standings now in the Western Conference. Where are they? They moved up to 5. Why did they move up to 5? Why is it important to win when everybody else is losing? Because the Lakers lost last night, and everyone's mad at Luka.
Apparently Luka turned down a decent shot.
Great shot.
To pass to LeBron, who admitted that I had no chance to make that shot. Go ask Luka why.
Yeah.
And then I think Luka ultimately has said, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I should have taken the shot, which, by the way, it happens. I don't think we need a congressional investigation on the thing. But see, the Lakers don't. I don't think the Lakers are going to hold up. I think we will pass the Lakers because I just don't trust that team at all. The way it's built right now, they can't guard it. Where I guess they have fashioned their record is they've generally been really good in the clutch games, right? The 5-minute games.
Makes
where
sense.
It's a 5-point game, whatever the definition is. They've been really good there, but they don't guard. They have depth issues, so I'm actually shocked they're in the position they're in. I don't think. I think that's one team we're obligated to pass the Lakers. Put it that way.
And we have, at least for the moment. We are a game ahead of them. We are a half game behind the Denver Nuggets, who we play a little bit later over the weekend. The next game is against the Los Angeles Clippers of Anaheim. The Gopher men's basketball team right before that, you heard it right here on the Fan, hung with Michigan longer than I thought they would with their 6 guys. And then Michigan ended up winning pretty comfortably in the end.
My team's on the floor, I think, is what Nico said a couple of times. My team's on the floor. Yeah.
6 dudes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, how about I got a text last night about 6:30 from Bozich.
Assembly Hall was not very populated.
Well, let me get to that. And the text was something like, I think in the Bob Knight era, the Hoosiers were 24-0 against Wilbon University. Wilbon is Mike Wilbon, who went to Northwestern.
He did?
That's who the Hoosiers were hosting last night, and they lost.
You know they've lost 6 in a row to Northwestern?
That's the thing.
Including 4 in Bloomington.
That was his point, was that it suddenly, they can't beat the Cats. And this year, Northwestern's, I think they went into the game with a 3-13 record in the conference. So a bad loss for the Hoosiers. There is only one answer. Signetti.
Yeah.
Might have to help out, at least as a consultant, to fix what ails the basketball program.
Somebody did tweet out that they just got an email recently that season tickets for next football season are sold out, and they are begging people to go to Assembly Hall. Like they're doing ticket deals.
Think about it.
You think about it. I mean, it's flipped.
It's so mind-boggling.
The world is upside down.
Danny Barrero's freshman year at IU wants to go to basketball games. People look at me and they start laughing. They say, "You don't get it, do you?" I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, there's a lottery." "Well, do it. You got to get in the lottery, and if you're lucky, you might get like 4 games or 5 games." That's how much in demand they were. That was at the heyday of the beginning of the Bob Knight's the best part of his run.
You can go now.
And now you can, 10 minutes before the game, let's go to Assembly Hall, see what kind of tickets they have. And you get lower level tickets, basically. It's unbelievable. And now football's sold out since 2000 until 2033.
Your only hope is John Mellencamp lets you come up to his secret booth.
That's true.
If you don't mind the smoking.
Yeah, that's the one thing you have to put up with in his case.
That's good. We got to straddle.
Enough? All right, we'll straddle.
Quasey's going to San Francisco, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, it's a
I was
good
going to bring that up. He's going back as some kind of role to be determined
some
after.
kind of major consultant in charge of the abacus or something. It's definitely going to be numbers. It's definitely going to be, it's going to be. They're going to play back to his strengths, which may not be running an entire National Football League draft. We'll revisit a couple of the controversies from earlier in the show and then prepare for Kessler and more controversy at the bottom of the hour. Kessler coming up in just a few minutes, and we'll probably, I think we're going to spend at least the first 10 minutes on SCARF analytics. There's a lot that I learned just in that brief commercial period.
And we didn't even have to go to Italy to
No, he did.
He did.
As he had to remind us, but we didn't. You're 100% right about not yet. That's exactly it. By the way, where is your first outside the United States trip going to be, do you think?
If I had to bet, I would say it's going to be London or Paris. Because it'll be tennis related. I'll either go to Wimbledon
I see.
or the French Open.
I see.
If I had to bet, I'll take anywhere. If someone wants to take me, if someone has an idea,
you'd be willing to do it?
I'd be willing to try anything. Yeah.
Okay. Those are two, that'd be good.
Those would be
trips.
And just like historic cities, the regular touristy stuff, probably.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to one of the Vikings games, the international games.
We're never invited to those.
We're not, but it has to work out with my Gopher stuff.
Yeah, that's you've got that complication. I don't want to travel anymore. I have no desire. I mean, I'll pretend to be offended and feel hurt, but I've lived that life. I don't particularly need it at all. IU dominant football, Nebraska basketball powerhouse, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria, signs of the apocalypse. Yeah, that has been noted. Nebraska's cooled a little bit, but they're still, I think they're still ranked top 10, aren't they?
Yes, they'll be fine.
Yeah, they're doing okay. Indiana is on the bubble, I believe, as they put it in the business, on the bubble. That going into the loss to Northwestern, I don't know if that changes. I think they were projected as an 11 seed. Regarding
Huskers are number 12 right now. They're 12-4 in the Big Ten. Good year.
Yeah, they are having a good year. There's no question about that. One last item going back to all the debate about the hockey team, etc. I'm going to ask you this. Is it possible that two things can be true, or a person can be allowed to think two things are true? One, that this administration is, I think we've pointed out on a number of occasions, especially in the state of Minnesota with the ice surge, has been deplorable in his conduct in a number of areas. I think you can believe that, as I do, yet also believe that the hysterical, for me, criticism and projection of behavior and rationale behind the decision making of members of the U.S. hockey team is not worth this level of consternation and hyperventilation. Well, those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think for a lot of the texters, they put it all together, which is their right, but I think you can believe both of those things. And to say that you don't think the heat that has been received or has been heaped upon, the scorn in many cases has been heaped upon members of the team, not about the president, not about Kashka Patel, but the team, just doesn't add up. It's not worth that much heat and revulsion. And I think for some of our texters, they're interpreting that as, you're going easy on the administration again. No, not in any way, shape, or form. I just think that there's too much projecting going on the basis of the frustration about what this administration means or what it has done and the way it's gone about its business, and that then you are obligated to savage the approach that the team has taken by even showing up at the Capitol at all. And by the way, I'm not the last word. You're welcome to have another opinion. But what I will reject is the notion that if I take that position, it means that I'm trying to hand an excuse to this administration. Anybody who listens to this show knows that nothing could be further from the truth. I can send you every night 30 to 35 minimum texts from righties, bitter, frustrated, annoyed down that road. But we, again, live in a world where everything is a purity test. And this is huge what they've done. And I texted somebody, I tried to text this respectfully. Part of my issue, too, and it's what we talked about earlier with Anthony Edwards and the disappointment about his comments regarding what was taking place in the streets of Minneapolis. We live in a world in which people want to believe that the X factor, the difference between taking an issue seriously and holding the people responsible for the behavior, is all dependent on which way a given athlete goes in articulating a certain position. That's not me saying the athlete doesn't have a right to take a position or to speak up on any of those issues. I have no problem with that, never have, never will. But what I reject is the notion that that's going to tip the balance. And I don't believe there's any reason to think that that is indeed the case. It's just so happened. You know what this is? It's last night was State of the Union, and people are mad. They don't like a lot of the things that the president said. I didn't either. So you start putting it all in this big box, and you say it's all related, as if then these players are somehow responsible for any or all of that. That's the part that I'm sorry. I'm going to pick. Everybody gets to pick their battles, and I don't like all of the projecting that's being done, all of the assumptions that are being made about reaction, laughter, whatever the case may be, in a situation off the cuff that happens in, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, however long, I guess I should say, the conversation was that he had. It was via the speakerphone, yep. Right, on the phone.
I would also add, I said yesterday, I'd be curious what the women's players think.
Yes, and they're starting to speak up.
And that's why I wanted to follow up, because a lot of them are saying, look, and I'm not saying all of them, but many of them that I've read today, saying, look, was it the best moment? Is it the best look? No, probably not. Was it the best response? But then with a big Ron Rosenbaum but, they say, we were with these guys for a month over there. We feel like they were pretty supportive. We had some great times with them. They were as excited as we were when we won the gold and vice versa. And that's what we're focusing on. A lot of them are saying those types of things,
and
which
that
I think
should count.
matter. I think that should matter.
100%.
Yes.
But it won't for some people because they want a different answer. And they're going to be presumptuous enough to decide that that wasn't the right answer, even if it's what they might happen to feel in their heart. We talked about the celebration they were doing together. I will say this, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. I think over the course of the last 20 years, when it comes to the willingness and ability, thank God, of male athletes to acknowledge and accept and respect women athletes participating in many of the same sports that they're participating in, I think the change for the good is exponential and dramatic.
Come a long way.
I really do. Now that doesn't mean it's everything's great.
No,
and there are no hurdles,
I get
whatever.
what you're saying.
But I honestly believe I'm actually almost stunned when I hear the number of times I hear NBA players talk about WNBA players and salute them. And I don't think in a patronizing, condescending way. I think that's gotten because there was a time where you think nervous laughter is a problem,
right?
You'd be amazed at how little respect there was and how misogynist it was. And what are we doing? Why are we even talking about this? So I think a great deal of progress has been made. Doesn't mean anything has necessarily been conquered, but I do think there's, and I think part of it is it's just because it should be natural at some point. It's now not a big deal to think, oh yeah, women are, guess what? They want to compete in sports too at the highest level possible. And I think as time goes on, it's just been accepted. That's just part of the landscape. They root for me or us, we're going to root for them. It's not that difficult. All right, bottom of the hour break. Kessler's going to file a live report from the nation. Well, actually, he's not in the nation's capital. But what took place last night in the nation's capital, it sounds as if he might be on the bandwagon that says it's time to eliminate the State of the Union address in the grandiose fashion in which it is now delivered. We'll see if that is his position. Would he miss some of the tradition? What were the highlights? What were some of the lowlights? Was he surprised that the president, at least in the speech, did not go as hard at the Supreme Court as he had previously in at least one of the statements or press conferences? All of that, and then we got a couple of statewide stories we will get to as well. 64686, that's the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line.
I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Pat Kessler. Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
Pat Kessler.
Tear down this wall.
I did nothing wrong at the Minneapolis airport.
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Pat Kessler.
And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own
Pat Kessler.
Political Wonk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
It's Channel 4's
Pat Kessler.
with Dan Barrero on the Fan.
Scarves are very lame. Real men don't wear them. Only guys in Hallmark chick flicks. And every one of those guys wears a scarf in the fake snow Christmas movies. Welcome to the program, Pat Kessler.
Wolves in 5. That was kind of prose poetry there.
That was well done.
Is that from a listener, please?
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it.
Of course
would never
you
put
didn't.
you on the
You
defensive
never do.
there. No. So
Scarves are a little much for me. I'm not going to lie.
How would you describe
You look great, though.
the two-tone?
That's what I
You got a
wanted to know.
What is it? Gray. There's some white. There's
I say
some dark gray and light gray. Right?
Silk. Is that what you meant?
Of course, it's
Yeah.
silk. And explain to the listeners where you learned how to properly,
Why are we talking about this?
Arrange a scarf.
About how I look. Why are you objectifying me? Seriously.
Because it's easy to do that. I'm sorry. I'm not proud of it.
Well, it's not my fault.
Do you feel demeaned?
I do. It's not my fault that I bought a bunch of silk scarves in a Florence market.
Florence, Kentucky?
You are so cute.
Florence, Italy.
Thank you.
And how many did you buy?
From a Pakistani
vendor.
vendor.
Yeah.
And who showed me then how to actually
So how did that come up? Did you say, I've always looked like a dork with the way I've tied this?
How do I look like a Hallmark movie guy? Can you show me?
Did he ask
the world over?
Did you ask him, or did he just say, hey, I'm going to show you?
No, they are very aggressive and very fun. Sellers, they're salespeople there.
Do they negotiate? Is all those deals?
Oh, they will, absolutely.
They started at $180 and you got them down to $90?
$50 American, and you get it down to, 20,
right.
Let's say.
Right.
But yeah, so they take it out, lay it over their arm, fold it, show you how to put the ends of it through the loop, and then, so he put it on me, and man, did it feel good. And suddenly I felt different. I did.
You felt different, you said.
I did. And I feel like either more of a Hallmark movie star or more of a man. I don't know what it is. So now I wear it all the time. Now, we were in Italy in October. So what happens, and I've been wearing it ever since, at home, when I go out, I just wear it. And what happens when it gets warm is my question.
What do you mean?
Will I continue to wear it?
Oh, I see.
Probably.
Well, you probably will. Because I've said you can take Kessler off the TV, but you can't take the TV out of Kessler. You're very visual
and insincere.
It's a package.
Yes, yes.
It's like I've got to present myself in a very surfacey way on the basis of what I dress, how I dress.
Exactly, and because I find value in how people look at me, how I dress. Now, here's the deal. So, if I can describe this, I fold the scarf in half.
Yeah, I will. I will say this before you continue with this explanation. The trick you learned is effective. It does make the scarf look less dorky than it otherwise would look. Now
Thank you. I think
that's
it
quite
makes
a compliment,
me look
isn't it?
less dorky.
Yeah,
that is absolutely a compliment. So what I do is take
really cute.
Who said that? So I take my silk scarf, I fold it in half because it's a long scarf, fold it in half.
Yeah.
And then I place it around my neck. Nobody gives an F anymore.
Wow, I forgot
Where'd
that
that
one.
I don't even know where this stuff comes from.
I didn't even know you've ever talked that way.
I don't talk that way.
Yeah.
So then I think that's AI. What if it is?
It could be.
So I fold the scarf in half, drape it around my neck, and then I pull the loose ends through the loop.
Here's the problem for me. I think it would take me 100 tries to accomplish what you just did.
That's what I thought.
No, I'm serious, because it looks better. This is a lot better than just turning it and then just like creating a knot or a loose knot.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
Just
and it doesn't look as good as this.
Like I'm tying a shoelace.
This looks better.
Yeah. So
There's no question about that.
And then when I've got a nice cashmere coat on, it looks pretty damn good.
Texters have a lot of questions for you, including the over-under on the number of ascots that Pat Kessler owns. He puts it at 1.5.
That's the under?
So what is an ascot?
An ascot is a silk kerchief that you wear around your neck and then into your highly starched shirt with a nice jacket, a nice dinner jacket over it.
And how many?
I would go the over.
Take the over on the ascot. Yeah. How many Dickies do you have?
Well, back in the day, now, does anybody remember this? Back in the day when we were in grade school and young teens.
They had Dickies on the farm?
Absolutely. Well, for the class picture once a year.
Okay.
And so it had a piece of cardboard around the back, and then you just put it in, and there it is.
And how would you describe a Dickie to individuals?
Well, I would call it as a silk handkerchief with design, a designer handkerchief on a piece of cardboard, almost like a priest's collar.
I don't remember the cardboard part.
Almost like a priest's collar.
The Dickies I wore,
it was all fake
as a kid, was, all right, you want the turtleneck look, but you don't want to wear a whole layer underneath. So it's literally just the top of what would be a full-length turtleneck. You don't have the whole shirt there. You just have the top part that makes it look like you've got a full shirt underneath, for example, the sweater you might be wearing.
Well, that must be for idiots.
That's
a disgrace.
Gary, Indiana was very big on Dickies. Yeah, that was the kind
Not
of
Paris, France,
So you
or
have
Rome.
a different one. I don't remember cardboard.
Yeah,
on
there
mine.
would just be a little cardboard thing because
To give it body, to give it
because
like
you could buy it at the dime store.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they weren't expensive.
Do the kids know what dime stores are? The 5 and 10 stores.
It was Kresge's in
5
Gary,
and dime?
Indiana.
Yeah,
that was the dime store there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kresge's.
Now they have dollar stores. Anyway, so you had that. Almost like, sometimes, and I'm not a big fan of it, but the kerchief, the handkerchief in your breast pocket on a nice sport coat or suit. I'm not a big fan of it, but how about if you have a piece of cardboard, and that's what I remember, with a nice piece of fabric on top, you just put it in there.
When you get dressed up, or you have
someone dress me,
a sport coat on.
Yes.
Do you accept what seems to be the current trend that it is absolutely permissible to wear a hoodie under a thin hoodie, but a hoodie under a sport coat? It's a look you see on TV much more often now.
A lot of sports guys do
correct.
this. Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Is it? Do you like it, or do you say no? Just because a lot of people are doing it doesn't mean it looks good.
I got to tell you, in the privacy of my dressing room,
you wouldn't consider it.
I have tried it.
Oh, you have tried it. Okay,
I have.
Okay.
I can't seem to get the look down. Now, have you tried this?
No, I've not. I don't think I have either.
I've tried it. I've opened up myself to you.
No, I think I probably tried it in the closet
open
too.
A vein.
You're right, but I think
so. I've tried first with the heavier sweatshirt. It doesn't work, and I see these guys.
It's got to be a thinner sweatshirt.
Yeah, and then you try the thinner
the
one.
hoodie,
I just can't seem to make it work. It's for younger, good-looking men.
I think it is. I think it's for the kids. I think we're too old for that.
And then I see
Gaardsy could pull it off. I think.
Absolutely.
I think he's still young
Gaardsy can do this.
Hey, you do that? You ever do it, Gaardsy?
No.
I guess not. Where is he finding these?
I don't know.
Did you find a new treasure trove of Kessler stuff?
I just went to the Power Trip button bar because Pat's like the 7th member of the Power Trip morning show every morning.
That's like unpaid member.
That's
exactly.
like being the 5th Beatle.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
That's a precarious position to be in.
Did Kessie ever go to the man store when he was a kid? You know what that reference is to?
I don't.
So yesterday, I'm talking about, you might actually be interested in this, and we will get to the State of the Union.
I'm interested in everything you say.
Of course you are. Pat Riley, your guy,
absolutely,
is back in the news because they unveiled a new speech,
or
a new statue of his in Los Angeles. And he's musing about various things. He still, of course, runs the Miami Heat. Still looks like $1 million.
Sharp-dressed man.
The guy's 10 years older than you.
Absolutely.
And he looks tremendous. Yeah. He can pull off any look.
Yeah.
Still got a full head of hair, too. And he's musing about, I got to tell you, I miss the days when NBA head coaches wore suits. He said, I just think it's the look of a leader. I think fans look at it that way. Players look at it that way. And so that was the subject yesterday. And so when we had Louis on, I asked him, I said, Louis, you like to get dressed up. What do you think of that? And he said, well, I kind of agree with my good buddy Riles because, Louis came very close to taking a job to run the L.A. Kings. You know that story, right?
Yep,
he almost left.
Yep.
Who was the guy in charge? It was the father. It was the father of who runs the team now?
Jerry Buss.
Jerry Buss wined and dined him in L.A., and so I want you to take over the Kings. And
God, would that have been something?
And imagine how much we would have missed here.
Oh, yeah.
If he'd have gone. It's hard for me to accept Louis going Hollywood, but I digress. I said, so, how do you feel about the whole idea of, clothes make the man and dressing up, whatever the case may be? And he says, I got to tell you, he said, for me, it was the influence of my dad. He said, he was a butcher. You don't wear a suit when you're cutting up meat all day. You got blood all over you. But he said he'd come home, wipe the blood off, wash up a little bit, put a suit on to go to dinner, to our family dinner. Then he'd go walk in the suit. And he said, how old did he say?
10.
He was 10 years old. As Dad said, I got to take you to the man store.
So you need a suit. You need to act like a man.
You got to need to act like a man. You got to get a suit. And, that's how he got his first suit. And he said, it kind of stuck with me. He said, I've always been a guy who likes the look. He said, I kind of like to get dressed up. You're all kind of influenced by what you grew up in. So you strike me as a guy who...
I would do this.
You would do this,
Absolutely,
wouldn't you? Yeah.
I would do this. Just like we should dress up to go to church, dress up to go on a plane.
Yeah, those days
we should do that.
Yeah.
But those days that Louis talking about are days when you would dress up to sit at the dinner table and maybe have a sweater on because you take off your suit jacket.
Or an ascot or a scarf.
Or a dickie.
Or a dickie.
Leotard type thing.
What's that one?
How about a unitard? A unitard. It's a tight-fitting leotard type thing.
My God. Out of context, Kessler is the best Kessler. There's no question about it.
I've had trouble ever since.
Since you wore the leotard?
Okay, here's
too restricting?
No,
too confining?
I wore a unitard.
A unitard. What's the difference?
Well, a leotard isn't that from the waist down?
Oh, I see.
Wore a
full body.
Full body, baby. Well, he's pudgy.
I'm afraid to ask what the occasion was.
Well, dinner.
Okay.
That was cringeworthy. All right, so here's the one thing that, the 3/4 zippies. Like I've got
a
this
million
really
of them.
nice Minnesota Twins. Cannot wait for the season.
Stop it.
But it's a 3/4, right? So you see the guys now who are wearing the 3/4 with a nice shirt under it.
They do. You're right.
And then a sport coat over it.
You're right.
All right, so that's
layers.
another one.
Yeah, that's coming.
So I might be able to pull that off.
Do you ever, in the quarter zip all the way up, which I do a lot because my neck gets cold too. That's why I'm wearing a dickie right now. This isn't really a dickie. I don't even know what to describe this item is. It's like a muffler. No, it wouldn't even be a muffler. What do you call what I've got on?
Well, it's right almost like a goiter thing. No, I think that's what it is.
Seriously? That's what they call it? You can put it over your nose.
Just like ice agents. Well, I mean, you can do that.
I guess you can.
You can. So, Dan, if you have trouble with your neck, like you feel cold.
I do that all the time. That's why,
Silk scarf.
Yeah.
Silk scarf, baby.
You don't get too hot in it? The silk
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you look good.
I guess that's true. Did anybody look good last night at the State of the Union speech?
Everybody.
Address?
Wasn't that something?
No. Yeah,
what a show. Seriously, what a show. President Trump put on a hell of a show last night.
He did?
He did. I mean, I couldn't watch.
The longest speech. So he broke his own record on length?
He set a new record and broke last year's record.
Okay.
I think it was
last year he did.
Which was just an address
to Congress.
Record. Absolutely.
Right.
But it was very well timed. I thought it was very well produced, and it was one of these things I saw somewhere on in the Twitterverse that somebody said it was like eating popcorn at midnight in a haunted theater.
That's an apt description.
Because you never knew what fresh hell was going to come. And last night, I mean, look at what he did. It was he had the gold medal hockey team, which I thought actually was really moving, and I got chill bumps from that. Having them there, and that was the longest sustained applause of anything, no matter how you feel about it politically.
Right.
I mean, that was a hell of a moment. He gave out 1 Purple Heart, 2 surprise medals of honor, and he was doing things like with the hockey team, nobody knew it was coming, and he was going on about how we're winning. And speaking of winning, open the doors and look at this. And the team comes down into the gallery. Oh my God. The one that got me was the unexpected tribute to the prisoner in Venezuela that was released when they captured Maduro. But his family didn't know this, and they're in the gallery, and suddenly he says, and hey, I brought him here. Open the door. Come on down. He said those words. Come on down. And to his startled, crying, weeping family, this hostage comes out. I mean, it was actually everything you wanted in a variety show or a reality show, with the villains from the Supreme Court sitting right down in the front. I mean, it was a hell of a speech. Now, if you want to talk about what was true and wasn't, that's a whole nother story. And I think he set up the Democrats in a really unusual way, and I think it was crazy. A lot of the stuff he said either didn't make sense or wasn't true. But when he asked the Democrats Stand up. I want everybody to stand up if you support protecting U.S. citizens first.
Yeah.
Or illegal aliens, he says. And what are you going to do? That's like asking...
A false choice, yeah.
That's like asking you, Dan, what do you support? The new Viking Stadium or the starving children? Which one do you support?
That's a setup.
That's what it was.
And do you buy... I'm looking at a tweet from your guy, Michael Smerconish, regarding... You mentioned the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So his... I didn't watch it start to finish. I will grant the point. So I'll defer to you and others. He says President Trump exercised rare restraint last night in the State of the Union, primarily addressing policy initiatives instead of or ahead of attacking political opponents. Do you agree with that assessment? Because I don't think the verbiage was anywhere near, in terms of the Supreme Court justices, as confrontational as obviously he had been via Truth Social.
And that surprised me and disappointed me. I thought he was going to...
What do you think he was going to challenge him to a duel or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he was going to do, but he shook their hands. I thought he was, as president should be.
But do you agree with that assessment in general?
I absolutely do not.
Rare restraint across the board? Okay.
Because if it's policy, I don't know what policy he was actually, that Smerconish is referring to, because what policy things he mentioned were completely distorted or false. Even if he brought some of the stuff up, he interspersed it all with the entertainment. Are you not entertained by what I'm doing here for you? And bringing out all the surprises, having the First Lady, Melania, present the Congressional Medal of Honor to the military dude. So, no, I don't agree with that. I do agree he turned the corner when he gave that false choice. You have to stand up or sit down, or else you're not patriots, you're not Americans.
And then shame on you. Wasn't there a shame?
Yeah, but
you should be ashamed of yourselves.
But he was, because then he goes off on the Somalis are garbage, the racist stuff about their garbage, and they come from countries we don't need them here. And that's when your gal, Ilhan Omar, sitting in the audience, shouted out, "That's a lie, you're lying." And he didn't talk about ICE in Minneapolis, but he did say that illegal immigrants, he said, are killing Americans. And she's shouting again, takes the bait, shouts, "You killed Americans." And then he says to her, "You ought to be ashamed of yourself." And she says, "You ought to be ashamed." I mean, that's what it devolved into. And then he said...
Is that healthy for everybody?
No, it's not.
So does this leave you with the conclusion, because you could say the conclusion that a number of people have drawn is, let's just get rid of it. It's become, even by performative standards, just an exercise in embarrassment. It's cringeworthy, start to finish. So let's get rid of it. Or is that letting the terrorists win, so to speak? Is that too defeatist, where you just throw up your hand and say, we don't trust the person in power to conduct himself in a way that might be, offer fruitful discussion of the State of the Union. So let's just kind of get rid of it. Is that the right message to send?
Well, a couple of things about that. And I want to say this about Ilhan Omar, that what are you supposed to do when he is making statements that are clearly racist about your garbage? You're not going to just sit there, although that's what the Democratic leaders wanted their members to do. So challenging the president at that point was probably what she needed to do. I also give the Democrats credit who showed up, even though one of them, Angie Craig from Minnesota, said, "I would rather stick forks in both of my eyes than attend this, but this is my house, the House of Representatives, and I'm going to go to watch this." I think that you have to be respectful of the president. But I also think the president needs to be respectful of this other branch of government, of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. So get rid of it. This is fairly new, where the president actually gives a speech before Congress. This was
relatively speaking, new. It's been going on for a long time, but compared to the beginning of the country.
This is in the Constitution.
Yeah, but you don't.
That the president must deliver to Congress a State of the Union,
which doesn't have to be a speech.
It can be written.
Yeah,
it can absolutely be written, and just do it that way. You can. There's no law. This is in the Constitution, so the president can decide to do how he or she wants to do it. You could do it once every few years. You could transmit a speech or the State of the Union by a 150-page letter every year. You can do it a number of different ways. But the only way to get rid of it is to amend the Constitution, and that's it.
The point is, a president could stand up and say, "I'm going to write out the State of the Union."
Absolutely,
we're not doing this anymore. The pomp and circumstance. Now, I don't think we can expect any leader will pass on that opportunity, but this is the direction it's been going, I think, for quite some time. But there's a part of me that doesn't want to surrender to it, because that's almost saying, well, we're never going to get to a better place. And it's like, well, so we're just going to get rid of it? I mean, I think it can have – it's always had political ramifications, obviously, because generally speaking – the person in office is not going to say, I got to tell you what, man, I had a bad year. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I had a bad year and what I'm going to do about it. It'll be refreshing, but we're not going to say that. But on the other hand, I don't know if I want to give up the whole thing just because it's like we can't trust anyone. And who was wasn't there a representative who got thrown out holding up a sign and the
sign read, that was Joe Green, the representative, Al Green, sorry.
Al Green, yeah.
Held up a sign that said, "Black people are not apes."
Oh, yeah.
Referring to the President of the United States, who tweeted out a video in which he depicted Barack and Michelle Obama as apes in the jungle.
By the way, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm looking at a story from something called Wired.com.
Wired is a highly reputable news organization that deals in high-tech and tech issues.
Let me read you a couple things they've said connected to this story. I think this just broke today. Hours after an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis, the Trump administration was already working to shape the narrative. Official White House accounts flooded social media with clips of burning flags and clashes between locals and federal immigration agents casting protesters. Not the killing is the story. Among the accounts amplifying that message was Johnny MAGA, a pro-Trump X account with nearly 300,000 followers.
I know that account.
They're burning the American flag right now in Minneapolis. The anonymous account claims, sharing a clip from the White House's official rapid response feed, and they really expect you to believe that ICE shot an innocent civilian. To its audience, Johnny MAGA looked like an independent voice, another outraged supporter in the MAGA media ecosystem. The account regularly boosts Trump's Truth Social posts and goes to bat for the administration, attacking Democrats like California Governor Gavin Newsom. Let me shut this thing off here. I got an ad going that I didn't want. How do I shut it off? There we go. But this isn't a regular account. Johnny MAGA appears to actually be a White House staffer named Garrett Wade, who works for the Trump administration as a rapid response manager, helping to run the very same White House account his anonymous MAGA account indeed amplifies. So the moral of this story is that the account that called the video you just referred to a masterpiece appears to be run by the White House staffer known as, with the pen name, so to speak, of Johnny MAGA. So there you have it.
And do we that's actually startling news.
Yes, it is.
And Wired magazine, I just want to point out again, is a reputable news organization. They broke a tremendous number of stories during the Doge stuff. Does anybody remember Elon Musk and Doge and all the craziness we were dealing with that? This is the Wired magazine revealed many stories there. If this is true, and I trust them that it is, that there is a White House account that is supporting all of these MAGA and far-right media or accounts, there must be more.
We got a lot more to get to. A lot of texts are coming in. There's some people want your rear end.
Bet you they do.
And we'll get to that. And we're going to get, I think, to a correction because we always like to be accurate on this
absolutely.
program. We'll get to that, and who knows what else. I do have one local story, actually state-related story as well. We'll get to with Kessler when we indeed return. All right, let's correct the record. You attempted to identify what I generally wear around my neck as a goiter.
We don't know anything.
A goiter is a growth, but I thought maybe
you
there was
have
more
to have removed surgically.
I think you can have a goiter.
I figured
removed.
it was just a dual meaning. Yeah, everybody knows what a goiter is.
I thought maybe there's more than one meaning, I should say. This apparently is a neck gaiter. Gaiter.
Gaiter, yeah.
Gaiter. That's what I wear often anymore, but it's not a goiter. A goiter is something, like I said, is a growth that you sometimes have to have removed. It occasionally needs to be drained. Or do you drain a carbuncle? I can't remember if you starve a goiter and feed a carbuncle or drain. I can't remember.
A barnacle.
Or
one of the two.
That's very different.
All right. Well, all I know is that when you pulled it up over your face, I was frightened for a moment. I thought you were an ice agent.
Is that 2 or 3, Gaardsy? That's the second or third
okay, so
reference.
Second ice agent.
Here's what ice agents wear. Because I just looked it up. If it's not a gaiter, they wear balaclavas.
Balaclava, yeah.
Balaclava. Before they release the tear gas.
All right, let me ask you this. I want to go local here. Is that what I needed to? Yeah, that was the main clarification. And
thank you for that.
You're getting ripped on a number of things.
Funny.
We'll leave that aside for the moment. So, well, did I save the text? I've got two versions of this. I don't think I did.
Well, while you're looking it up, I could finish my thought on the State of the Union.
Oh, there's more?
There's just one more thing to say.
Okay. All right.
If it were not for the behavior of the president, and which has turned this into something that it never was before, maybe we'd be able to go back to the old ways when the tradition and the dignity and the circumstance, the pomp and circumstance.
I will,
but maybe not. Maybe
I will gently disagree with you on that. I think he's at the top of the list, but I also think it was already heading that way. The last 3 or 4 or 5 of them I have found to be so ceremonial and
the pomposity of it. That's a different story. The pomposity of politicians, and that has increased. There's no doubt about it. But this personal vitriol is like something that I don't know that we've witnessed at this level ever.
A goiter is an abnormal enlargement of the thyroid gland, often caused by iodine deficiency, autoimmune diseases, or inflammation.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what
is that what you
a
have?
Carbuncle
a goiter?
Is. No, I do have autoimmune, but I don't think I have a goiter. I think you'd know. If you have a goiter, I think you'd know it. Because they can be kind of pronounced.
Can you see it from...
I think you can.
Okay.
All right. So help me translate why. So we had. Well, this is from your gal, Lisa. Is it pronounced Damuth? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Lisa Damuth. Yeah.
Yes.
Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So this is from her point of view, but I want you to comment on it. Yesterday, State House Democrats voted again to stall legislation that would create an independent Office of Inspector General, which would hold executive branch agencies accountable for enabling theft of our tax dollars through fraud. Minnesotans need, I should say, just one House Democrat to join Republicans in passing this legislation. The text I got earlier was bringing that up and also saying that they believe there is reason to be suspicious of Democrats' desire to actually get someplace on this, but they also believe Republicans are disingenuous and they have no interest in getting to the bottom of really trying to figure out how the ICE approach got out of control, and so that everybody is sort of in the position of politically trying to protect what they think on their side of the aisle needs to be protected. So is there a backstory to this vote? Is there something the Democrats say they got to get in return? Why? Because I thought I read that a year ago the vote on the Senate side was...
They passed it. It was overwhelming.
Yeah, it was. What is there? Is this a horse trading thing? What's the hidden piece of this?
Well, circumstances do change, but and Democrats did not want it, and the late Speaker Melissa Hortman, who was assassinated during the summer, was one of the ones who didn't think that this was fully baked. She thought that there was not enough meat on the bones to figure out what the Inspector General would do. But since then, the instances of fraud have exploded in the state of Minnesota, and we now know much more than we did before. I do believe, because Governor Walz has appointed his own fraud czar who issued a report a couple of days ago.
Yeah, but he's leaving already.
I know.
I'm confused. When I think czar, I'm thinking I'm here for the long run.
I'm totally with you. Yeah. I mean, I thought that this was a guy who we're just going to get this thing under control. But he came out with a report and he said, yeah, there's fraud, and it goes back decades, which kind of lets Walz off the hook, in my view. But we only now figured out that we have more compassion than common sense. I don't know what words he used, but we're way too nice, and we don't want to offend anybody by saying, hey, you're stealing our money. I do think that the Republicans do want to have some sort of Office of Inspector General, have some way you can monitor fraud all the time. And the Democrats, I really believe, for this election year, are going to have to go along with some of that.
Well, they're going to have to some form of it. Now,
In
the back of my mind, I thought part of the disagreement had to do with whether the investigators were going to come from the BCA or be internal to that department.
And
correct?
that's one of the things the Democrats in the House and Melissa Hortman was concerned about. Who are they accountable to? Are they accountable to the governor? Is it an independent office of Inspector General? Is it somebody who can wield the power of subpoena? One of the problems here is that every time our watchdog group, the legislative auditor, Minnesota legislative auditor, great office, which investigates all this stuff, people say, they make recommendations and say you got to do this. I don't know. So this, perhaps there should be something with a little more teeth, an independent office. But people were wondering where this answers. I think they're going to figure out how to do this. Meanwhile, I think the Republicans are right, and it's proper and valid to go through this exercise of a committee to keep investigating fraud in the legislature. One of the problems is that two of the people in the legislature, including Speaker Demuth and the chair of the fraud committee, Kristen Robbins, are both running for governor.
Right, yeah.
So it is in their interest, and I'm not saying they're doing this at all, but it's in their political interest to keep this going as long as possible. They've already learned a pretty hard lesson of pushing Governor Walz out of office by making him say, I'm not going to run for re-election. And now what? They're the dog that caught the car. And so now what are you going to do with it? Meanwhile, Nick Shirley, the YouTuber who put out the videos that were fraudulent, in my view.
That got the attention of the president.
I mean, there's plenty of fraud here. Even if the president exaggerates it in the State of the Union address last night, there's plenty of fraud without exaggerating it 2, 3, 4 times. But he brought one of the Minnesota reps, Pete Stauber, brought Nick Shirley as his guest to the State of the Union. So this thing is all bollocksed up. Republicans politically need to figure out a way to get it back on track, because I think immigration, ICE, and the violence and occupation of Minneapolis that we saw over the last couple of months is going to be perhaps the biggest campaign issue from here on out.
I'm told that you cannot drain a goiter. You have to take thyroid medication to regulate the inflammation. Maybe it's a carbuncle you can drain.
I drained mine.
No. Well, that's very dangerous.
Yeah,
very careful.
Late at night after a night at the bars.
I will do me a favor next week. Mm-hmm. I want a different scarf every week. Mm-hmm. And you got like a dozen of them in Florence, right?
As a person is wont to do.
Yeah,
when you're in Florence.
And yeah. So just keep bringing different colors in. Keep it. Make it your new trademark.
But at what temperature do I stop wearing these?
Oh, I think you can wear them all the way to 80 degrees. I think there's any problem with that. Just maybe a little looser.
Just because you want to see
just a
this.
little. Well, what you do is you just wear the scarf and no shirt under it.
Okay, so you're right. Now I look a lot more casual.
There it is,
and yet elegant.
Elegant and yet a little cooler around the neck.
And swelligant.
If you say so.
There we go.
Kessler, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock on Channel 4.
Show Wrap presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Very busy program today that included 3 guests. Adam Minter, who writes for Bloomberg.com, which is kind of, a business-oriented publication, but he writes about a lot of stuff. Got a good column there, often it's sports. He's back in the Twin Cities. He spent a lot of time in Asia. And we had a nice conversation with him about a couple of Olympic columns. And then we got into some other stuff with him as well. He joined between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. Alec Lewis from the Combine at 4:30 with even more on the Vikings quarterback saga. We tried to get it re-triggered early, playing a soundbite from Shefty, indicating once again, or kind of revisiting the idea that Aaron Rodgers might not be off the table for the Vikings, even though I think Lewis believes, he'd never say never, but he thinks it's unlikely at this point. I don't think you can rule anything out. I really don't. And I don't, maybe I should put it this way. I don't think the Vikings should rule anything out at this point, including A-Rod. Now, maybe the deal is a fait accompli in Pittsburgh for him to return there. He apparently, had his ups and downs with Mike McCarthy, but they would tolerate each other. I don't think it's though as tight as he was with Tomlin. So we'll see where that goes. Kessler joined between 5:30 and the aforementioned 6:15, and we learned a lot about scarves, how to, I guess, wear them properly.
Yeah, good education.
Ascots, dickies, and goiters. But it wasn't goiters. He said goiter. It's a gaiter. A goiter is a growth.
Yep.
A gaiter. There's actually leg gaiters, and then there's neck gaiters as well, which I tend to wear.
And Florida gators.
And there's Florida gators. That's also very much true. What do we have tonight on the Fan? Fan on Demand on the air?
Tonight on the Fan on Demand, then Wild Weekly, which is back because they are back in action tomorrow, which means Russo Radio will join you tomorrow at 5 o'clock to help preview.
Be Still My Beating Heart. Is that true?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be the first time in a while. We're hoping to get Guerin in on the fun at some point. He's still, I'm sure, basking in the glory of the gold medal. And we've got a number of other things planned for the rest of this week as well, as we sort of try to mix and match. Tomorrow's Thursday, we could open the inbox again. We'll see how that goes. We did last week. If we want to get in,
I think we should.
We might as well. So that's another possibility. When's the last women's game?
Sunday in Champaign.
That's the last regular season game. Mm-hmm. And then the tournament is the following week, basically?
Next week, yep.
Are they in double bye mode now after losing that last one or not?
They need to win and have Ohio State lose one of their remaining 2. Michigan tonight, Michigan State this weekend.
So they got a possibility. Mm-hmm. Good enough. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we'll start it all over again tomorrow at 3.
Go get them, Glenn. Show us what you can do.
Whenever you need me.
A lot of things that are easily correctable.
I'll be